to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Jude Temera delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region on today's headlines. Tons of garbage sent to the Philippines years ago was shipped back to Canada on Friday after a festering diplomatic row, as Asian nations increasingly reject serving as dumping grounds for international trash. Bangladesh Coast Guards on Thursday stopped 58 Rohingya refugees from making a potentially dangerous journey to Malaysia by sea and arrested 2 suspected traffickers, an official said. And East Asia should consider a common regional trading currency based on gold to promote commerce and free the region from relying on dollar transactions, Malaysia's Prime Minister said Thursday. Tons of garbage sent to the Philippines years ago was shipped back to Canada on Friday after a festering diplomatic row, as Asian nations increasingly reject serving as dumping grounds for international trash. After a long campaign to urge Canada to take back the rotting waste, the Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte lashed out at Ottawa last week and ordered the refused returned immediately. The 69 shipping containers of garbage were loaded onto a cargo vessel at Subic Bay, a former U.S. naval base and shipping port northwest of Manila, and began the lengthy trip to Canada. Canada's Environment Minister Catherine McKenna welcomed the news of the trash being returned, telling reporters on Thursday, quote, "We committed with the Philippines and we're working closely with them." Just days earlier, Malaysia announced it was shipping 450 tons of imported plastic waste back to its sources, including Australia, Bangladesh, Canada, China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and the United States. For years, China had received the bulk of scrap plastic from around the world, but closed its doors to foreign refuse last year in an effort to clean up its environment. Huge quantities of waste plastic have since been redirected to Southeast Asia, including Malaysia, Indonesia, and to a lesser degree, the Philippines.
When MV Bavaria leaves tonight, it will take 29 hours to get to Kaohsiung. And then it will stop in Kaohsiung to get more cargo that will be loaded to MV Bavaria. And then it will proceed to what they call the Delta port over at Vancouver.
Meanwhile, after the departure of Canadian waste from the port of Subic on Friday morning, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. has withdrawn his order for the recall of the Filipino ambassador and consuls to Canada. And I quote, "To our recalled post, get your flights back. Thanks and sorry for the trouble you went through to drive home a point," Locsin said on his official Twitter account. From 2013 to 2014, a Canadian company, Chronic Incorporated, exported containers labeled as recyclable plastics to 2 importers in the Philippines. It was later found out that this contained non-recyclable plastics, household waste, and used adult diapers. Late in April, President Rodrigo Duterte gave Ottawa an ultimatum to take back its trash. On May 16, letters for the recall of ranking Filipino envoys in Canada were issued after Ottawa missed the supposed deadline set by the government in pulling out their waste. Heavy security has been deployed at Singapore's Shangri-La Hotel, where Asia's top defense summit begins today. Acting U.S. Defense Secretary Patrick Shannon and China's Defense Minister Wei Fenghe are among those giving speeches during the 3-day event. Shanahan sets off Tuesday on a tour of Asia that will take him to Indonesia, Singapore, South Korea, and Japan, the Pentagon said in a statement. He will give a speech on the U.S. defense strategy for the Indo-Pacific region at the Shangri-La Dialogue, which is held each year in the Southeast Asian city-state. The International Institute of Strategic Studies, the conference organizer, announced on its website that Chinese Defense Minister Wei Fenghe was taking part. The new U.S. defense strategy identifies Russia and China as the two top potential adversaries of the United States. Reproaching Beijing for militarizing the South China Sea, the United States has been conducting regular freedom of navigation operations in the Pacific, sending warships near disputed islands and overflying international airspace. In other news, the Bangladesh Coast Guards on Thursday stopped 58 Rohingya refugees from making a potentially dangerous journey to Malaysia by sea and arrested 2 suspected traffickers, an official said. Acting on a tip-off, a patrol ship challenged a fishing boat near St. Martin's, a small Bangladesh island in the Bay of Bengal, and found the Rohingya on board, Coast Guard Lieutenant Josel Rana said. So far this year, law enforcement agencies in Bangladesh have rescued over 400 Rohingya refugees from coastal villages as they were waiting to board boats bound for Malaysia. But this is the first time in 2019 that Rohingya refugees were rescued at sea, raising concerns that the situation in Bangladesh's overcrowded camps, home to nearly 1 million, is worsening. Such incidents will continue as desperation among the refugees is on the rise, said Emdadul Haq, a professor at the private North-South University in Dhaka. Rana said most of the refugees picked up by the Coast Guard were from the Kutupalong camp, the largest refugee settlement in the world. Most attempt the journey before March, when the sea is calm before the monsoon season sets in. But experts say traffickers are now convincing the refugees to attempt the trip even in rough waters. The UN Refugee Agency, or the UNHCR, has said the vulnerability of Rohingya to trafficking has increased enormously as livelihoods, support networks, and other fundamental systems are disrupted.
Visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. That you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. East Asia should consider a common regional trading currency based on gold to promote commerce and free the region from relying on dollar transactions, Malaysia's Prime Minister said Thursday. Mohammed Mahathir said the proposed currency could be used for regional trade, but would not replace national currencies for use at the domestic level. And I quote, "In the Far East, if you want to come together, we should start with a common trading currency, not to be used locally but for the purpose of settling of the trade," he said at the Future of Asia Forum in Tokyo. At the moment, we have to depend upon the US dollar, but the US dollar is also not stable. So the currency that we propose should be based on gold because gold is much more stable, he added. He said that the exchange rate of the regional currency would relate to the performance of the individual countries and would help harmonize regional trade. Mahathir, who is serving his second term in office after storming to a shock election victory last year, has a reputation as something of a financial maverick. In 1998, he defied international experts and imposed capital controls to shield the economy amid a regional financial crisis, and he is a longtime critic of currency trading. In the Philippines, President Rodrigo Duterte on Wednesday or May 29 urged Japanese businessmen to invest in the country, ensuring a competitive and corruption-free business climate. Speaking before the businessmen in a business forum at the Imperial Hotel in Tokyo, Duterte reiterated he was taking his honor and persona in what he guaranteed in the forum. According to Duterte, if Japanese businessmen had a complaint of corruption, they could contact his cabinet members or seek an audience with him. Meanwhile, Philippines and Japan signed 7 business agreements and 19 letters of intent, amounting to 288.804 billion pesos worth of investment deals on the sidelines of President Duterte's third visit to Japan. Here's Ramon M. Lopez, Secretary of the Department of Trade and Industry.
I am pleased to report to the President the strong show of confidence by the Japanese and Filipino business communities, as we now quickly narrate the signed 26 business agreements this afternoon. These agreements have an estimated investment value of 288.804 billion pesos, or $5.511 billion US dollars, and a projected employment of 82,737 jobs. These include the following: a memorandum of cooperation between the Philippines Department of Trade and Industry and the Japan External Trade Organization, known as JETRO. This would enhance bilateral cooperation between the Philippines and Japan and mainly focuses on investment promotion activities. A memorandum of understanding between EMS Group, TESCOM, Denki, and Outsourcing, Inc. This MOU would ensure cooperation and partnership in skills training and human resource development and deployment, manufacturing, and assembly. A memorandum of understanding between Advanced World Systems, Inc., Alcion's AWS Information Systems, and Ubicom Holdings, Inc. These outsourcing of projects and works will involve software development, testing, and maintenance. A memorandum of understanding between Asia Defense and Armament Corporation, Kenko Tokina Limited, and Diversified Ecozone Corporation. This would establish a manufacturing facility for optics equipment, injection model holsters, and related equipment to supply customized defense equipment in Alion, Bataan. A joint venture agreement between Bases Conversion and Development Authority and Meralco Marubeni Consortium. This joint venture project would develop an electric power distribution system in New Clark City, Pampanga. We also received letters of intent from the following companies: Toyota Motor Corporation for additional investments for further parts localization under the CARS, or Comprehensive Automotive Resurgence Strategy Program. The project location is in Santa Rosa, Laguna. Murata Manufacturing Company for the expansion of manufacturing capacity in the Philippines of the Philippine Manufacturing Company of Murata in Santo Tomas, Batangas. In summary, we have 7 business agreements, 19 letters of intent, with a total value of 288 billion pesos or $5.5 billion and projected employment of 82,737 jobs.
Watch your favorite Net25 shows on OSN channel 725, same day as the Philippines. Watch your favorite Net25 shows live and on demand anytime, anywhere on any mobile devices on OSN Play.
Welcome back. President Rodrigo Duterte on Thursday advised the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, to let go of the services of Smartmatic in the country's automated elections. Duterte said allegations of cheating have been rampant from both sides of the political parties. The president said the poll body has enough time to look for a new service provider, since it has 3 years to prepare for the next automated elections. Duterte said the public has no more trust in Smartmatic. He said the votes of the Filipinos are not counted accurately. The president said he can only advise the COMELEC because it is an independent constitutional body. other news, PAL Holdings Incorporated, the operator of legacy carrier Philippines Airlines, expects to revert to the black in 2019 as it implements cost-cutting measures throughout the year, including the reduction of its flights to destinations with low-value proposition. Jaime Bautista, the company's president, said his group expects to incur profits by year-end after posting a comprehensive loss of $65.87 million in 2018 due to spikes in the fuel expenses and stiff competition. And I quote, "This year, they hope to improve their profitability by reducing flights to destinations where there is excess capacity like the Middle East. They are also looking at stopping flights to domestic routes where they were not able to recover their expenses. They will implement strict cost-saving measures so that they will at least reduce expenses and be profitable this year," he said during the annual stockholders meeting of the company on Thursday. Bautista said the aircraft for these destinations with reduced flights will be used for wet leases, which essentially means the aircraft will be leased together with the crew, maintenance, and insurance. They can also be used for charter agreements. PAL aims to increase its average passenger load factor by as much as 4 points to 82% from around 78% in 2018. Its new investor, ANA Holdings, can also help in turning the company's bottom line around. Ruwei Maida, a senior advisor at ANA Holdings, was elected on Thursday to PAL's board. In another development, the company approved the increase of its authorized capital stock from 13.5 billion pesos to 20 billion pesos to prepare for its impending share sale, which could be slated for next year. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Judith Yamera, and I'm on with 25.